Previously on the Demon Headmaster. Headmaster who wants to get covered in slime says what?
What?
It burns! It burns!
And it came to pass that 3 years after the release of her most acclaimed book, Gillian Cross, her most famous book, Gillian Cross wrote the prequel to the third book of this Devious Principal series, which she titled The Prime Minister's Brain. Published in 1985, the book was the only one in the series to originally have a title without involving the words demon or headmaster. This was amended in its post-90s reprints. Before I start to cover the final 3 episodes of the show's first series, I would like to mention something I forgot to mention last time.
This man is dead.
All 19 episodes spread across 3 seasons are, at the time of me recording this, finally about to be given a DVD release. So if you'd like to view these episodes without my inane commentary or a throbbing CBBC logo, buy it, buy it, buy it. Prior to this, the only official home media releases of The Demon Headmaster was a VHS tape from 1998 and a DVD released in 2011. Both only contained the 6 episodes of Series 1, despite the DVD cover featuring a stock photo from Series 2. It does at least come with a copy of the boy in the striped pyjamas.
You called the children.
Something else I forgot to mention is that The Demon Headmaster was adapted for television by Helen Cresswell. Like Gillian Cross, Cresswell, who passed away in 2005, authored many books, mostly aimed at children, some of which she produced for TV. Now, are you ready to see what nefarious schemes our heroes must do battle against their twisted headmaster's cunning and mind control down in the playground? Well, too bad, because Series 1 Part 1 is the only chapter of the series where the Demon Headmaster is actually a headmaster.
Gentlemen, behold!
It's the summertime, and Splat are trying to decide what to do first, especially now there's no hypnotising teacher around to foil. Did the headmaster quit after his quiz show plan left him in a sticky situation? Or did he carry on working at the school, which would have been a tad awkward? Anyway, the hot thing to do this summer is play a new computer game, much to the annoyance of Harvey and Ingrid. Who in their right mind would want to waste their time playing video games during the school holidays when there's so much quality you can view at the cinema? There is, however, an incentive to play, as whoever can beat the final boss shall be crowned Junior Computer Brain of the Year.
Come on, Di, I bet you could do it. Yeah, come on, you've got to.
Extra! I'm an extra!
She's got that crazy look in her eyes again!
Could this green bobbing octopus be linked to the green-eyed title character? Well, the soundtrack to this game is an 8-bit version of the show's theme tune, so yes.
You have a go.
She doesn't want to. It's a gruesome game.
Not since Puzzle Bubble has there been such a gruesome spectacle.
I like to be under the sea in an octopus's gut in a shade.
It's worse than Christmas waiting for the postman these days.
Yes, just look how excited she seems. OMG, I forgot to watch last night's episode of The Queen's Nose.
This makes you one of the contestants to qualify for the final round of the Junior Computer Brain of the Year competition.
Won't she still speak to us, do you think?
Or be able to get her hat on.
But a requirement to enter the competition is that the contestant must be in possession of the latest high-tech capacity computer containing RAM.
We just can't afford it, I'm sorry.
bitchy brat mode activated.
You've got to buy me one. I've got to have one. Are you deaf or what?
Obviously, Dinah's outburst was subliminally forced by the mesmerising card. As if something like that could actually compel someone to buy it, buy it, buy it. Fortunately, well, I suppose unfortunately for the characters, but fortunately for the story and the villain, Mrs. Hunter is very forgiving and agrees to buy her adopted child the necessary tech.
A nugget of purest green.
I'm going to sell it to buy your salamander.
But Mum...
Not another word.
I am bored. Bored.
Dinah shares her fears with her friends, and so it looks like Team Splat are back in business.
We got rid of the demon headmaster.
You know, as evil as the headmaster was, without him you would never have got the chance to meet your hero Eddie Hare, who will thankfully never be referred to ever again.
Got you guessing? That's...
Ever!
Whenever went behind closed doors, strange noises in the cellar or the sound of creaky doors.
Not only did none of their parents accompany them into the city or arrange for an aunt or someone to meet them at the station, but the children don't even have concrete knowledge of where they are going. Why is it that adults were less worried about their kids' safety in an era before mobile phones?
It's a traffic island.
I'm really starting to love Ingrid's hatred for her friends.
I'm sick of the smelly competition. Hope they don't let us in.
If you desire admittance, please punch out your name.
Hello, Mr. Intercom. Has anybody ever told you your voice sounds exactly like our headmaster's?
Now what?
In hindsight, they probably should have followed her in, like they agreed to do.
I'm gonna let you go in. We'll come in with you.
Fool you!
Please leave immediately, otherwise the police will be summoned.
But we'll all be arrested.
Don't be a wally.
Providing the officers to arrive aren't Thompson and Thompson, or Sergeant Hobson, I think the police would take interest in a claim that your friend was eaten by a door. After being entranced, during which some bastard stole her beeping slag, sleeping bag, Dinah meets the other winners.
I'm Camilla, and this is my brother Robert.
And their host.
Good morning.
What a twist. Totally didn't see that coming. It's almost like this show was written for children.
You are now inside the main control room of Super Salamander. I shall now give instructions how to operate Super Salamander.
Take a drink every time he says one of the silliest sounding ominous devices in all of Tellydom.
Super Salamander, Super Salamander, Super Salamander, the Super Salamander.
You didn't even name the company after its Octo logo? You stupid! Meanwhile, the famous five find Budgie the little helicopter's evil twin. I brought a torch for our visit to a computer lab because...
Never mind, buddy.
They also find their only other option of getting in by going up the rubbish chute.
What? That was quite easy if you put your back up against one side and walk your legs up the other.
So let's see. If one of us slips, it will result in a broken body, and if an occupant of the building tips out any food waste, we'll get covered in it. Not to mention the already present stench and obvious claustrophobia. Not going to lie, even if Dinah was my best friend, a one-night session with Marina Baccarin wouldn't convince me to climb up there. I should point out at this point that it is never revealed what the Demon Headmaster's real name is. He is always referred to by his profession. In these episodes, he is the computer director. Although the main characters, just like the book's titles, still call him the Headmaster. Part 1 ends with one of the youngsters daring to protest against the ex-headmaster's orders, and she gets pushed out of the room and into the glowing embrace of the Octo-Hypno. Someone should definitely do something about that. 1 week later, and Splat are still climbing up the chute. Get it? Because these episodes were first aired weekly, not hourly!
That was fucking witty.
You put them in a trance just to use the lift? Unnecessary.com, they can't all be omnishambles.
From bean to cup, you fuck up.
Turn that rubbish off!
Oh my god, their lunch has been genetically modified, which adds sweet FA in the way of plot points. Doesn't even serve as another way of brainwashing them to be compliant.
But I'm a vegetarian.
If only half the food on your plate was veg.
Yo, is this person fucking retarded?
All getting exactly the same. The only trouble is, we're not exactly the same.
Seriously, Dinah, you are aware you have bigger problems to worry about than the food.
Here goes.
Anyone else feel like the fictitiousness of this just jumped from 32 to 132?
I hate it! I'm going home!
Sure, we have order, but at what price?
Since they now know their minds are being controlled by the octopus, the brainiacs, of course, keep looking at the octopus.
How do we know we're not being watched?
What I love about this scene is the fact none of them are remotely distressed by the loss of Ian.
Now I am the chief of Splat.
I think I might be going to have nervous breakdown.
What?
Welcome to floor 4. We've got boxes of rice, tea, UNISYS, and a rejected Robot Wars character, Cargo Bot. Oh dear, that's extremely less dramatic looking than the 2004 cover update. Excuse me, Mr. Blatantly Evil Guy. Are you evil?
Who the fuck said that?
Oh, I told him not to.
Courage the Cowardly Dog has more balls than you do, Missy. The head creepazoid at last explains why he's arranged for this gathering of youthful elite. The computers they are sitting at are all linked to one particular computer, which he wants them to hack into. If not, they will never see those who dare to voice their concerns ever again. Sod those whiners. When does the Computer Brain of the Year award ceremony start? While doing some product placement for MC Dougal's Spaghetti, the children take cover as Robert is chased by the head's henchman. The best part of this scene is that Lloyd hides by using a high-vis jacket.
How ironic.
We end episode 2 and start episode 3 with Dinah being the one to stumble upon the correct password, which turns out to be a knock-knock joke. Holy shit! Looks like the villain didn't need a bunch of brainiacs after all. He could have done it himself, armed with only a joke book.
Well, well. How did you get in? The computer was programmed to keep out anyone called Glass.
I'm Dinah Hunter now.
Okay, it hasn't been clear up until this point whether he's known Dinah was in the room the whole time and was just choosing not to acknowledge it. Which would have made more sense, as really, how could he have not noticed her? There aren't that many children in this room, and he's been staring at most of them from the moment he first entered. She's the girl responsible for spoiling his previous plan to conquer the entire country of children's quiz show fans. He surely would have her face engraved on his brain.
My feasibility study on the super salamander predicted that the odds were that one of you would discover the password, but not for 3 days.
God damn it, I knew I should not have paid the rent for this building in advance.
Don't you ever wish life was simpler? All these ridiculous ideas about choice and democracy, and that's what leads to waste and inefficiency. It's all around us. Once my scheme is in operation, you will all wear the clothes you are issued and read only the textbooks I provide.
He hypnotizes people to get them to do what he wants.
She's hysterical, ignore her!
To prove he isn't some power-mad hypnotist, he hypnotizes Dinah into showing him the password.
So tired and sleepy you can hardly hold up your head. So sleepy.
Is he losing his touch or something? Her instructions were clearly to get sleepy. Her lack of blinking surely suggests the opposite. Splat arrive in another storeroom, where Ian and the outspoken youths are being kept in a sort of force field of mind control. Just like Maleficent luring Aurora to her doom, the same thing happens to Lloyd and Mandy, only without the terrifyingly eerie music. We are to assume that Harvey and Ingrid are immune to the green glow and the repeated instruction, because neither of them paid attention to the video game.
Who's that?
It's us, Splat. We've come to rescue you.
Yes, that internationally known organisation comprising of 6 12-year-olds.
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire...
Splat forever!
That's enough.
I'm going to try rebooting the computer. When I do, you've only got about 15 seconds before it boots up again.
I know the exact time it will take to reboot, because... I hate video games.
Yes! I have added my name to the list of people with security clearance at 10 Downing Street.
Quick, everyone grab a monitor and hit him with it.
Nah.
Never fear, socially penetrable lesbian atrocity tricksters are here to do nothing.
Do not imagine that you will be able to interfere, or that you'll be able to use the lift to escape. I have set it on automatic booby trap. It's a booby. You will all remain here till I make further arrangements. You will be perfectly safe, as long as you obey my orders.
No possible means of escape, besides the rubbish chute. You'd think I would have considered that a possibility, considering how meticulous my schemes are. Speaking of which, considering the lack of facilities on offer, I wonder if it is also supposed to be used as a toilet. Any port in a storm, right, Rebecca Gethings?
Bye!
Where have you been?
Every molecule in my body got disintegrated and then reintegrated into another part of the building. Useless! It doesn't matter how many times you show it, I still think replacing the crocodile with an octopus in Disney's Peter Pan sequel was retarded.
Don't look at it! Don't look!
Well, that's enough trying for one day. Maybe break the screen by throwing something at it?
We're alright. We're masterminds. We're not that stupid. We're masterminds.
Shut up! Who wants a world like he does? Who wants to end up like a robot?
Why are you even opening this up for discussion? Putting aside the fact that it was pretty obvious the only difference between that man and Jafar is a tan and a goatee, I doubt any of these children want to stay in this room for a second longer. Unless at least one of these computers has access to Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, then I'd stay. In doing so, they activate the computer's booby trap, causing the building to self-destruct via fire. The movie Jerry moves at a faster pace than those propellers. In the demon's defense, he isn't actually flying the helicopter himself. It is being controlled by Super Salami Salamander Puss.
I can flick it about, but I can't get hold of it properly.
Look at these graphics!
I'll flick it up.
Luckily, there aren't any tall buildings in London containing hundreds of people that he could possibly crash into. Plus, there's the what happens when he inevitably runs out of fuel question. The implications of these actions are so morbid. Norm MacDonald, tell me a joke.
9/11.
I wonder where he'll end up.
As long as he doesn't crash land onto Rick Mel's memorial bench, frankly, I don't give a damn. doesn't have the same nicely tied-up ending feel that episode 3 had, does it? Then again, 'tis not the conclusion that matters, but the journey, which is also my excuse for being much more of a subpar riffer than a reviewer. As with part 1 of this first series, Terrence Hardiman's great performance is the equivalent of a deliciously crazy but calm pantomime villain. Although I will say he was more genuinely spooky when he was in charge of a primary school. Our little verging on the point of puberty heroes are all decent actresses and actors. With a plot centered around technology, this inevitably leads to a, well, that's dated reaction, much more so than the first 3 episodes. The villain may consider himself a genius, but he makes quite a few blunders. For example, rather than further agitating those who started complaining, he should have just tried to calm them down, or at least lie. Seems counterproductive to lose 3 brains. I can understand that Dinah didn't tell the other children about the psychotic nature of their host sooner, but I find it ridiculous that Splat, who according to Harvey are quite a big deal, just hide in the corner when they could have totally sneaked up behind the villain and tackled him easily. Especially with Robert on their team, as he was obviously the oldest and ballsiest of all the children in the room. You do stay invested in the stories and the characters thanks to the tensions of drama concocted via the plot, with only the occasional hiccup of nonsensical stupidity.
But I'm a vegetarian!
Overall, I give the first series of The Demon Headmaster 3
Pretty good.
out of 5
Mildly adequate.
As for the title character's job not being what is advertised, it would have been far too limiting to continue this series with the Demon Headmaster remaining a headmaster, unless he tried travelling from school to school where different children found different ways of defeating him. The title is too catchy to drop, though perhaps an alternative could have been The Green-Eyed Guy. It was almost 10 years before Gillian Cross wrote another chapter of this book series, The Revenge of the Demon Headmaster, published in 1994. The scenario is that the villain has created a children's television series, which is of course his platform to hypnotise people. The star of the show is Porky Pig.
It's raping time.
For reasons I don't know, the adaptation of this book was skipped in favour of the 4th adventure of Splat and the much more hypnotic Count Olaf. So until we meet again, Miss Dinah Hunter, this is Jeffrey Kitsch saying, the BBC are seriously giving this an official DVD release before Noddy's Toyland Adventures? The Headmaster is right. This world does suck.
Once again, without emotion, the humans are dead.